Hi, welcome to my comic room. And one of the things I do tend to watch is, well, I like to see how many subscribers that I have. And it was pretty cool when I got over 100. Right now, I'm at 129. And what does that actually mean to me? Well, nothing. Other than the fact that it reminds me of a comic book, Amazing Spider-Man number 129. And what's the significance of this issue? Well, it is the first appearance of the Punisher, created by Gerry Conway. And this book was one of the first big books I ever purchased. I wanted a number one of a first appearance of a character back then, and this is the one that I was able to afford. I purchased the book by trading in a few others, including, if I'm not mistaken, an Iron Man number one. I got a $50 credit for that. A few other books I got $30 in credit, so I had $80 towards a book. And the book that I wanted was a Daredevil number one. And the condition of that Daredevil number one was near mint. Even better. I mean, I'm talking about it was the same identical condition of the book that I did wind up purchasing. As I said, an Amazing Spider-Man number 129. Now that book went through significant changes. In fact, it's one of the first books I ever sent out to get graded, and that was at an on-site grading at Wizard World by CGC. Now, it might not have been my first interaction with CGC, but it was my first submission. I did buy a few books previously, and two of those were basically just as a novelty, just to have them. The other one was, well, it was a New Mutants number one, and let's face it, it's my favorite series. However, when I turned over a few books to get graded myself, Amazing Spider-Man number 129 had to be one of those books. I was just learning about grading myself, and I graded it a 9.4. CGC disagreed. They graded it a 9.2. Now, it was a few years later that I had the chance to get Stan Lee to sign the book. And when it came back a 9.4. And I felt justified that I graded the book properly and they misgraded it the first time, because when I sent it out again for another signature, this time by the cover artist, John Romita, it returned once again as a 9.4. Now originally, as I mentioned, it was a 9.2 with white pages. When it came back as a 9.4, it came off-white to white pages, and I really didn't understand the significance of the pages. I'm not good at grading them, and in fact, I really don't grade the page color at all when I grade a comic book. So now, I had a double-signed copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 129 in a 9.4. After learning a little bit about pressing, and this was done at Worldwide Comics, or Classics Incorporated, which was a side company, which was eventually bought out by CGC when they decided to start pressing in-house. The book went up from a 9.4 to a 9.6. And this, then, is where the story gets a little bit more true to heart. I wrote about this many times on the CGC registry, about how I got the book, and what it meant to me, and what it went through. And when a gentleman by the name of Ronnie Lama reached out to me and said, Gerry Conway will be at the Emerald City Comic Con, and if you want, you can fly out here and get to the show. I'll put you up in my mother-in-law's suite. I'll make sure you're fed, and we'll go to the show back and forth. And I did. And that story I will get into because my father's also included in that. But it's about the book right now, and that book did get signed a third time and came back as a 9.6 triple signed Amazing Spider-Man number 129. It's one of my favorite books, not just because of the significance of the book itself, but the history behind it. So with 129 subscribers, today I show you my Amazing Spider-Man number 129. Now, I would hold it up and show you in hand, but unfortunately it's behind a whole bunch of comic books. So I'll have to show you just a picture that I took, well, years ago, and hopefully that will satisfy you. What's the one book that you have in your collection that has survived a purge, that has survived the chance to sell it for a good amount of money, that has survived any other book you might have purchased that knocks it out of that top 5 spot. Yes, there are some other books that are inside that top 5 spot, but that Amazing Spider-Man 129 has been around for a very, very long time. In fact, it's probably been in my collection for over 35 years. I'll have to do the math. And if you don't mind hitting the subscribe button, make a comment, tell me a little bit more about your collection, I'd appreciate it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Collect what you love, and most importantly, be kind.